The lottery and probability paradox. You're standing in line at the convenience store holding a brand new lottery ticket. Your mind is already imagining the yachts, the mansions, and the awkward call you'll have to make to your boss when you quit. But let's be real. The odds of winning? Astronomically tiny, like getting struck by lightning tiny. Deep down, you know it's probably a losing ticket, but hey, a dreamer's got a dream. Now you look around at the other hopefuls in the store, clinging to their own golden tickets. You think, none of these people are winning and neither am I. But here's the twist. You also know that someone has to win. Statistically, at least one of these dreamers gets the mansion, while the rest of you get, well, nothing but a piece of paper. The paradox hits you like a math textbook to the face. Your logical mind says, no way, but the lottery says someone somewhere is living your dream. The evolution of knowledge paradox. Remember when Pluto was a planet? You were probably sitting in science class confidently labeling it as the 9th planet from the sun. Then, in 2006, scientists decided it wasn't a planet anymore but a dwarf planet. Cue the confusion. This is the evolution of knowledge paradox. What we thought was cold, hard fact, like Pluto's planetary status, turns out to be subject to change as science evolves. So, if even science, our supposed beacon of truth, can change, how certain can we ever be about what we know today? The Catch-22 Paradox. You're applying for a job that requires 5 years of experience, but it's an entry-level position. You sit there thinking, how am I supposed to get experience if no one will hire me without it? Welcome to the Catch-22 Paradox, where every solution requires something you don't have until you already have it. It's like being told you can only join the club if you're already a member. The term Catch-22 comes from World War II. Pilots could avoid dangerous missions if they were declared insane. But there's a catch. If you request to be excused, that proves you're sane enough to understand the danger, so you're stuck flying. It's a classic no-win situation where logic gets twisted into a loop that keeps you trapped, whether you're trying to dodge combat or land your first job. The Pinocchio Paradox. Imagine this. Pinocchio looks you dead in the eye and says, "My nose will grow now." Uh-oh. We've just hit a paradox. If he's telling the truth, his nose won't grow. But then he's lying and it should grow. But it grows. He's telling the truth, so it shouldn't grow. You get the idea. No matter what, his nose is stuck in an existential crisis. The Pinocchio Paradox isn't just a fun thought experiment, it's a reminder that sometimes even simple statements can tangle up reality. It's like when you tell someone, "I'm totally fine," while internally screaming. Truth and lies getting all mixed up, just like poor Pinocchio's nose. The Trust Paradox. You and a friend are staring out the window, watching the rain pour down. Your friend casually says, "It's raining, but John doesn't believe it." Seems fine, right? But now imagine if you said, "It's raining, but I don't believe it." Suddenly your logic gets hit by a bus. How can you say something is true while also claiming you don't believe it? This is the trust paradox, a mind-bending riddle that makes you question reality itself. It forces you to realize that sometimes it's not what's being said, but who's saying it that flips everything upside down. The trust paradox in relationships. You're lying next to your partner after a long day. You've shared everything with them, secrets, stories, dreams, except for that one thing you've been holding back. And guess what? You'll probably never tell them. Weird, right? This is the trust paradox in relationships. The closer you are to someone, the more you trust them, yet the harder it is to reveal your deepest, darkest thoughts. Meanwhile, you'd spill your entire life story to a stranger on a bus in 2 seconds flat. It's like our brains are saying, let's save the real vulnerability for people who won't remember our names tomorrow. The birthday paradox. You're chilling in a cafe when suddenly you hear a group singing "Happy Birthday" at a nearby table. And naturally you start thinking, what are the chances that anyone in this room shares my birthday? You're about to dismiss it with, nah, that's like a 1 in 365 thing, when, surprise, the universe slaps you with the birthday paradox. Turns out, if there are just 23 people in the room, there's already a 50% chance 2 of them share a birthday. Wait, what? Yeah, math strikes again. It's one of those moments where reality shoves your gut feelings aside and probability swoops in, reminding you that logic can be sneakier than you think. Basically, if you hang out with 22 other people long enough, odds are someone's getting a joint birthday party. The Sleeping Beauty Paradox. Imagine you've signed up for a bizarre experiment. On Sunday night, you're put to sleep, and while you're out, a coin is flipped. If it lands heads, you'll be woken up once on Monday, then sent back to sleep with no memory of ever waking up. If it lands tails, you'll be woken up on both Monday and Tuesday, but each time you'll be knocked out again with no memory of the previous wake-ups. So, when you finally open your eyes, you have no idea if it's Monday, Tuesday, or if you've been woken up before. Now, here's the kicker. Every time you wake up, you're asked, what do you think the chances are that the coin landed heads? You're groggy and confused, but you figure it's just a coin flip, 50-50, right? Well, not so fast. Halfer versus thirder. Enter the great debate. The halfers argue that it's a straightforward 50-50 chance. After all, it's just a fair coin flip, and waking up doesn't suddenly give you special knowledge about how the coin landed. Simple, right? But the thirders have a different perspective. They point out that when you wake up, you're facing three possible scenarios: Monday heads, Monday tails, or Tuesday tails. Since tails gives you 2 wake-ups and heads only gives you 1, they argue the odds are actually 1 in 3 that the coin landed heads. Suddenly, this simple coin toss feels like it's spiraling into a logic puzzle you didn't sign up for. The Mandela Effect. You and your friend are debating about the Monopoly guy. You know, he's got a monocle, right? But your friend is like, no, he never had one. You whip out your phone, look it up, and guess what? No monocle. Mind blown. This is the Mandela Effect, where a bunch of people collectively misremember something. It's like the universe decided to gaslight an entire generation. People even remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, even though he didn't. Mandela was actually released in 1990 and went on to become South Africa's president before passing away peacefully in 2013. It's a reminder that our memories are not the reliable narrators we think they are. They're more like that friend who's always swearing they've definitely seen this movie, but they clearly haven't. The Relativity of Truth Paradox. You're at a party, because that's where all of the best paradoxes happen, obviously, and someone starts talking about a news article they read. It's 100% true, they declare. But later, you read something totally different about the same event. Now you're wondering, who's telling the truth? This is the Relativity of Truth Paradox, where truth isn't always universal. It's more like a customizable playlist. Everyone's got their own version. And in today's world of information overload, where even conflicting reports exist everywhere, you start to realize that sometimes truth is more fluid than we'd like to believe. The Münchhausen Paradox. Imagine you're out hiking, enjoying nature, when suddenly you step into a patch of mud. You try to lift your boot, but the more you struggle, the deeper you sink. Panic sets in. You reach out for something, anything, to grab onto, but all you find is more mud. The harder you try to free yourself, the more stuck you become. Welcome to the Münchhausen trilemma, named after the fictional Baron Münchhausen, who supposedly pulled himself out of a swamp by his own hair. Not how physics works, by the way. This paradox captures the problem of trying to justify any belief. Every time you try to explain something, you end up needing more explanations, sinking deeper into confusion. What do we really know? Let's say you believe hard work leads to success. That seems fair, right? But how do you know it's true? Maybe you point to personal experience, times when you worked hard and saw the payoff. But what about the times when you work hard and it didn't pan out? Suddenly, your solid belief is getting sucked into the mud of doubt. The problem is, every explanation you offer needs its own justification. It's like trying to explain why the sun rises. You say, because of Earth's rotation. But why does the Earth rotate? With every answer, you need more and more layers, and before you know it, you're sinking deeper into the mud of reasoning. 3 major problems. The Münchhausen trilemma gives us three classic traps. 1. Circular reasoning. You explain one thing with another, but eventually you end up right where you started. It's like saying, the mud is deep because the ground is soft. But why is the ground soft? Because the mud is deep. You're going in circles, my friend. 2. Infinite regress. Every explanation needs another and another, like trying to pull yourself out of the mud with more mud. The deeper you go, the further from solid ground you get. Number 3. Assumptions. You could just stop asking and accept something as true without proof. It's like saying, well, I guess I'll just stay stuck in the mud. Sure, you're not moving, but it's hardly a satisfying solution. Can we ever prove anything is true? This all raises the question, can we ever truly know anything? The more we try to prove something, the more it feels like we're just sinking deeper. Let's say you believe the sky is blue. That seems obvious, right? But why is it blue? You explain light scattering, but then someone asks, why does light scatter? Before long, you're in an endless loop of explanations, like trying to escape a maze with no exit. Can there be any philosophical progress? So, if we can't ever be 100% certain, what's the point? Do we just keep sinking deeper, or is there another way? Maybe the answer isn't about getting out of the mud. It's about learning to navigate it. Instead of trying to find a final truth, we might need to get comfortable with the mess. In the end, philosophy teaches us to navigate the uncertainty, not to always find the answers. Maybe, just maybe, that's the real paradox after all.